With the first pick in the 2019 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson from Duke.
Iguodala up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry
Way downtown. Bang! Bang!
Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang!
Mamba out.
All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Shot Clock Podcast. My name's Nathan Shawl. We're back again. Another day in the studio. Another day waiting for the NBA return, but this time the NBA is officially back. It's Wednesday, July 22nd. This episode will be airing July 24th on Friday. But biggest thing we've had all week is the Clippers basketball is back. You know, one of the biggest playoff contenders in the race against the Magic tonight. Last time I checked, the score is about 6-6. But it's amazing watching NBA return after such a long time. I mean, we're gone from NBA, we're gone from all kinds of sports for so long, although baseball just returned a couple of days ago. But it feels like slowly normal starting to return, you know. We went from that day, March 13th, the NBA, middle of a Mavericks-Nuggets game. We hear the NBA season has officially been postponed, and now we're officially back, you know. It's wild to think about how much the world has changed in the matter of these 5 months. And I was just talking earlier with the director, John, about how, you know, heading into the school year last year, we wouldn't expect out to wear a mask. And then you're coming out of March into what is now going to be August in a few days. It's just wild to think about how much masks have become such an important thing of what we do in society, how much we realize sports is so important to how we live. I mean, even we're so unsure about whether or not there's going to be a fall season. I mean, I know the NFL just canceled their preseason games, but it's just wild to think everything's on the line. Everything counts on how well everyone is trying to stay safe, trying to stay healthy, trying to stay keep a positive outlook on things, you know. So without further ado, let's get into some NBA talk. This one still has a little bit to do with coronavirus, but out of 322 tests taken the past week, crazy news is 0 people tested positive, and this is all within the bubble in Orlando. And we know throughout the past couple of days there's been a couple of guys testing positive in and out. Russell Westbrook just came in after his positive test. James Harden's been in it for a couple of days, and he was positive, I believe. But slowly and surely, it's the bubble is starting to get healthy, you know. 0 positive tests out of all these taken. It's great news to hear. So, you know, maybe if it's kind of like what China did. You know, they quarantined themselves for such a long time. What we did, we quarantined ourselves for such a long time. The phases, it slowly starts eliminating those numbers, but in real world, you know, the numbers are starting to rise up. But it's wild to think about how much a week's change has been. You know, we start the bubble about last week in the 18th/20th. You know, all these teams are starting to come in. Teams are starting to complain about food. All these players' stories, players vlogging. It's and now we're getting the return slowly back. You know, all these players are getting healthy. We're got scrimmages today. We've got scrimmages tomorrow. We got scrimmages all week, next week, and then the play-in tournament's going to happen. But so a little bit about that play-in tournament. I got a topic to talk about. Who are the dark horses to come into the playoffs? You know, we've got so many great teams. Like one of the teams I've always talked about is the Raptors. The Raptors went from winning the championship last year to losing their most important player. Or is he really the most important player? Kawhi Leonard, you know, he went to the Clippers in free agency, automatically making the Clippers the hot spot to win it all this year. But one guy I think is the serious X factor for the Raptors, if they want to be the serious team that they are, the serious team to win a possible championship again this season, to come back for a repeat. I mean, they're not the world champions for nothing, but Kyle Lowry, he is one guy. They lost that first game against Orlando in the playoffs because of him. He had 0 points the whole game, barely any stats at all. It was like 1 rebound and like 7 assists. It was not a very good game all around, but he carried himself on. He went on to score like 23 the next game, 20-something the other, and 17 the next. He went on to kind of like bounce back, and that bounce back is what really pushed the Raptors forward. And, you know, they're coming in these playoffs now, very excited ahead of the times. You know, it's crazy because you wouldn't expect a team like the Raptors, especially being the third most injured team in the league, and they're literally the third spot in a total record. They're behind the Lakers, and they're very close to the Lakers, like 3.5 games back. For a team that's lost their superstars a lot, like Kyle Lowry, Norman Powell, I believe, was out a couple games. They're dealing with a lot of these guys that aren't thought of as great players, but if you take a serious look into them, they're actually they're the players that you would expect to not do much in the season, not do much in the playoffs. Then they come in and they're averaging so much. They've got like 15 point per game averagers. They've got like about 5 of them averaging like 15 per game. Siakam obviously leading with like 23. Fred VanVleet, he's heading into free agent this season. Where's he going to go? Probably the Raptors, because they're the biggest chance he gave them with getting the promotion up from the G League. But he's one of their key players. He's one of the key ones that helped them win the playoffs last year, and he's heading to free agent this year. So it's like many possibilities for where he could go. He's going to get such a big contract. I say it's going to be about $90 million worth over 4 years. He's a great player you want on your team. He has no ego. He's such an important player for any championship team, and he came from the rut. He has such a great story. It's going to be a ticket seller. Any team's going to want a guy like that. Another team I think about is the Heat. Now, they're what I nickname as the Bucks destroyer. They've won 2 games, lost 1 against the Bucks. So better than most teams have. Most teams are even with them. Most teams are 0-3 against them, 0-2, 0-4, whatever. Most teams are being completely owned by the Bucks. But this Heat team started out as another team that wasn't expected to do very well. They signed Jimmy Butler in the offseason, one of the greatest free agents in a while. He was known as an egotistical guy, but in reality, he was just a guy that needed those players like what the Heat had. Those guys came from the rut. They're Kendrick Nunn, undrafted. Tyler Hero, not thought to be any good. He's averaging like 7 points per game, but such a key player, hits big shots when they need him. They've got Bam Adebayo, never expected to be where he is today. You look back at it today, and you're like, wow, this guy, he's even a possible candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. He's a 5 that can guard the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. He can guard any position you put him at, and he'll succeed in it. He could average 16, average like 3 blocks, 2 blocks. He's such a great player on the steals-wise and defensive-wise. Everything he does is just such an important part to what makes that team the Miami Heat. And another thing I think you have to think about is these players are all part of the Heat culture. You've got Bam. He's such a big part of the culture. I mean, they're all expressive guys. They're all guys that own to the moment. They're all guys that will hit those shots for you in the long run. And they're another team that's just the dark horses. They're scheduled to possibly face up against the Bucks in the playoffs. And I think they're going to succeed. They're one of those teams. They've proven to already beat them before. Yes, it's the regular season, but look what the Bucks did last regular season. They're having another great season like they did last year. And what happens? Kawhi is down 0-2 against them in the playoffs. Comes back, wins 4-2. 4 wins in a row. Not very common. You see that in a playoff series, especially whenever it's in the Eastern Conference Finals. But this Heat team is going to prove to be something else. Yes, it's the regular season, like I mentioned, but who else are you going to have? I think the biggest threat to the 76ers is probably, or to the Bucks, is like the 76ers. What their GM said at the beginning of the year is, we're built to beat the Bucks, and they're a Giannis stopper. They're big guys. They're guys that contain. You got Ben Simmons playing the point, which although he's moved to the power forward just last week, you've got Joel Embiid, injury frequencies, but you've got Al Horford. He's going to be sitting the bench now, which I think is probably a better look for the team, even though you're paying him $23 million a year. You're paying a guy that's 33 years old, not proven to be much else other than a pretty reliable and key role player for your team. You're giving him $23 million a year whenever you've also got like other $30 million contracts in Joel. Ben Simmons just got that $152 million extension. Tobias got like $20 million. Josh Richardson, all these other guys got making too much money for such a underperforming team, such an injury-frequent team. And it's like Joel's out, Horford's in. Horford's out, Joel's in. It's none of these players have been able to mesh well, but they've proven to kind of put up the biggest fight against the Bucks. We watched Christmas Day. They won against them Christmas Day. It was like 123 to or 130 to like 123, something like that. It wasn't a completely dominant game, but no game against two great teams is going to be dominant. They're pretty even now. But you look at the Bucks, the 76ers. Are you gonna want Tobias Harris taking your shot? Who you want Ben Simmons taking the final shot? You want Joel Embiid taking the final shot? Really, the only guys you can trust is Tobias, and Tobias hasn't proven to be the most consistent scorer you can have on the 3-point or the clutch fadeaway mid-range shot. And with the Bucks, you've got two guys like Giannis and Chris Middleton. But Giannis we watched how well the Lakers exposed him that game before the season got postponed. The Lakers played inside on him, forced him to shoot outside, which is a shot he's known not to hit very often. And it exposed him that complete game. He went like 2-12 against LeBron, and he did very well against the other players because the IQ wasn't as much there with other players. But similar to what the 76ers did, the 76ers, I believe, held him like 13 points. It's just so many factors go into stopping this Bucks team that a lot of these teams can figure out. And that's why I think like the 76ers are a dark horse. If they end up facing against them, although they're not very well performing against many other teams, they face against them, they're going to force them outside because a lot of their guys they have are inside perimeter-centric players. They're guys that are meant to play the inside, block the inside out. They've got shot blockers in Joel and Al Horford. Another team I'd say is a dark horse is the Trailblazers. Now, this is a Western Conference team, but you put them in the playoffs. Look what Dame did last year against the Thunder. Did the good old wave to Paul George after he hit that like almost 4-point shot. Like if you put the 4-point shot in the game, there it goes. The Trailblazers won by 4 that game and not 3 off of a buzzer beater. Dame has proven to be a clutch player. He's proven to be a leader. And now that he's going to be fully healthy after that 4-month hiatus, he's going to be one of those players that benefits the most. He's going to be like one of those top players in the playoffs. And if he makes it, because you've got Zion out right now. Zion's at home attending family matters. You got him out. That could lead the Trailblazers to snagging that A spot over the Grizzlies. I don't think a team like the Grizzlies are going to perform too well in the playoffs. They're a young team. None of them have ever been to the playoffs besides like Justice Winslow. A couple of those guys via trade that never were very good players, always had injuries. But obviously they're a young team. It's going to freshen up their legs after that 4-month break. But at the same time, they're all rookies. They're all sophomores. They're all third-year players. They're all guys that are new to the league, still trying to get used to it, trying to prove themselves. Now, that effort to want to prove themselves is going to push them. But whenever you're putting in all these younger guys in there, we've seen teams like the Heat last year. They were a somewhat young team, failed to meet the playoffs, and it's just these young players aren't meant for the playoffs. They never have been unless you're like a generational talent. Now, Ja Morant, he's going to be a generational talent in a couple years on, but as of right now, he doesn't have much that he's had to prove. He's only leading the Rookie of the Year race because of how Zion was injured. Zion was injured. He was out for 6 months longer than expected. He's expected to come back about December-ish, and he came back in January. He's back. He averaged 23.6, 7 rebounds, like 2 assists. Ja the whole time. He played all the games, only missed about 1. Averaged 17, 7 assists, about 3 rebounds. Was a finisher, almost dunked on Kevin Love, which is a pretty notable feat. But he was dominant. He was obviously the best rookie they had. It took him a while to warm up to the league, kind of understand the game. But Zion, he came right in there, played 19 games, led the team to a 10-9 record the whole time he was in. The time he was in, he comes in, leads them, automatically is known as the best player because, yes, he's the first overall pick. But he's already averaging 23 off of breaking his ankle, or spraining his ankle, one of the two. But not many rookies are going to do that, some guy that's never been in the league. What'd he do? His first game back, he made 13 straight field goals after going like 0-7 the whole game. Ended up hitting that clutch 3 to kind of bring the game closer. Sadly, he lost, but he proved himself. He kind of proved that he could be something. No guy thought, a lot of people had big expectations for him. He's like, hey, I am that guy. Have those big expectations for me. So that's kind of more of the Rookie of the Year debate. But the Trailblazers, like how I was mentioning, they're going to come in. Those guys are out. You get the Trailblazers in. You got C.J. McCollum. He's one of the guys that tends to underestimate by many analysts. Not many people believe in him because he doesn't perform too well. He doesn't really do too much in the playoffs. He's more of that regular season guy that will give you about 23 a game, perform well on the three-point, be that good secondary option. But yet again, you've got the Trailblazers are going to get back Nurkic possibly. They're getting Hassan Whiteside. Two great centers that are top 10 centers in the league. And you're going to put them up against these bottom feeder 8th seed teams that are fighting for the A seed. That's easy. They made the playoffs last year. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. And yeah, they're in the 9th seed right now, but that's not hard to come back from. They're only down about a couple games, and they're going to come back. They're going to win it all. They're probably going to go against the Lakers. Against the Lakers, they're about 2-1 in the season. So another topic is Magic Johnson's award picks. He went on Twitter the other day to state his MVP. Gave the general Magic Johnson statement saying Magic Johnson approves this tweet where he normally says he gives the most blatant statements ever that everyone understands. Captain Obvious statements is what I think of it as. And he said LeBron is the MVP, Anthony Davis DPOY, Brandon Ingram Most Improved Player, and Coach of the Year Taylor Jenkins from the Grizzlies. They're not a very good team. They're the team, they weren't thought of to be good, but yet again, look at the Raptors. What coach wasn't thought to be good? The Raptors or Taylor Jenkins? You take away the best player from the Raptors, they're the third most injured team in the league. They come back, they're the third best team in the league. The Grizzlies, they're like the 20th best team in the league, fighting for the A spot, 32-33, under 50% win percentage. Who are you taking, Magic? Come on. It's not that hard to understand. And then with this MVP discussion, you have LeBron or Giannis. Giannis is one of those guys. He's probably the greatest player in the league. You could debate. Anybody can put up a good argument for the two. LeBron averaging a triple-double in his 17th year in the league, going 35. Most players average at 35. Most players retire at 35. Most players retire at 36. Most players retire at any age past their 30s, they're gone. Giannis is only 24, averaging 34, 13, and about 6 assists a game. LeBron's averaging nearly 26, 10 assists, and about 8 rebounds a game. So it's just crazy to put those two against each other. You've got two of the most popular players in the NBA right now facing against each other. One 11 years younger than the other, one near retirement. And it's such an even matchup. We watched that last game, like how I talk about all the time, is LeBron showed what he was worth. LeBron showed, I'm still the king of this league. He wasn't given the nickname for nothing. And Giannis kind of showed that his kind of fumble. It showed his playoff fumbles that he had. He had the playoff fumbles last season, but obviously these awards are going to be giving through the regular season, and I think it's about July 26th as they're making the decision. So about 2 days after this podcast comes out, they're all going to kind of discuss about what's going to go on, who's the award winners, and they're going to be announcing it in the playoff return. So another thing I want to talk about is the 76ers. I brought them up already. There's been a couple issues between Joel, Ben Simmons. Now, it's not publicly said that they don't mind each other, but it's kind of understood that, the two can't fit along each other. So my idea is, what's going to happen once the season ends? What's going to happen if they fail in the playoffs like they did last year? Kawhi hit the big shot against them at the buzzer. One of the most iconic shots now in NBA history, done on one of the best 76ers team in 76ers history. What's going to be their future? You've got two great young guys that are both proven to be something better than what they are. Ben Simmons thought of to be a future Magic Johnson. Joel Embiid, it's not really thought of who he's like, but he's proven to be something. He averages 24, 11, and about 3 assists a game as a center. Not many centers can do that. And center hasn't been thought of the most dominant position in a while. There hasn't been an MVP center since the 90s. Shaq was the last MVP center we had in the league. So what's going to happen to this team if they fail? Do you find a trade for Joel or Ben? My idea is you find a trade for Joel. Joel's a guy that's faced injuries all this league, missed about 30 games this season. Ben Simmons is a guy he's missed about 10 games this season. He has off and on injuries, but he proves once he comes back from those injuries, he can be better. Now, you add the 3-point, you're paying this guy, okay, real quick before I get into the 3-point shot thing. You give this guy a $5 million or a 5-year, $153 million contract, paid one of your best players that you've paid in a long time with the most money in a long time, and you're giving him this big of a contract, and you have to look for a trade between Joel or him. Both of them are on big extensions, but who's going to give you the biggest trade value? Ben, not many guys. This league is a 3-point centered league, all right? Ben Simmons is a 3-point shooter. Joel Embiid, he can prove that he can shoot from the 3 better than Ben can. Not many 7'2" centers can do that, Jokic is about the only one. You're going to put him or Joel on the trade block, okay? So if you put Joel on the trade block, that brings in you bring in new young guys or you bring in proven veterinarians already. Like you could possibly trade for CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic from the Trailblazers. You could play CJ at the 2, and then you can make some other trades around that. Or if you trade Ben, who are you going to trade him for? What you're going to get back, you're not going to get back a 3-point shooter, I can tell you that, because you're giving away a non-3-point shooter, and not many people believe in Ben's success. He won Rookie of the Year that first season, or that second season because he missed his first. But he won Rookie of the Year, and that's all he's done since. He's proven to be a great player, but proven not to be an exceptional player, what his potential showed. I think that's just kind of what kicks in, Joel, he's missed a lot, but he's proven to show potential from all sorts of shot ranges, rebounding and everything. And Ben Simmons has proven to be the B-list, the C-list Magic Johnson. So on the topic of centers, Nikola Jokic, he got a new look, a little bit skinnier, lost the Big Mac weight. Jokic used to be a pretty big guy, and now he's out in the league. Quarantine hit. He lost about 40 pounds over quarantine. He's one of the skinniest guys in the league now at 7'3", and he's already averaging 20 points per game, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists per game. That's nearly a triple-double. Now, I talked about how Magic Johnson is like Ben Simmons, but who I really think is like Ben Simmons, or like Magic Johnson, would be Nikola Jokic. He's averaging Magic Johnson numbers. What I said, I searched this up earlier. Magic Johnson, his 5th season, 17.6 points per game, 13 assists per game, and 7.3 rebounds. Jokic, 20.2 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game, and 7 assists per game. Both in their 5th seasons. Now tell me, which one would you rather? You're going to take a 6'9" point guard that's playing at the power forward, can't shoot a 3, or you're going to take a 7'3" center that can shoot the 3 ball and has already proven to be average those similar numbers, even a little bit better, and both in their 5th seasons. Now, they're very similar players, and what I'm talking about here is the impact that this player is going to have. You already lose 40 pounds. You're already proven to be one of the best centers in the league. You're going to be a little bit weaker on the defensive side. But you got to think, his agility is going to prove it. He's already playing the point guard for the Nuggets. Not many 7'3" guys can do that besides Giannis, And he's coming out there. He's playing point guard. He's going to be quicker on the court. He moves up the court like he's walking on stilts. He's a little bit slow. He loses that weight. He's going to be quick. He's going to be fast. He's going to be beating teams on the fast break. He's going to be proven to be that next Magic Johnson in the league. Not many people would expect that from a guy that went 30th, 40th pick in the draft a while back, 5 years ago. So that kind of impact he's going to have on a team. It adds more strengths to the team. Yes, defensive-wise, it's going to be weaker, but this is a team where it's offensive orientated. Every team's trying to make that next play that's going to make it on House of Highlights, Overtime, Bleacher Report. They're trying to make that play that's going to pop up there. It's going to bring up their fan base. Jokic is obviously going to be one of those players now after his weight loss. He's going to be hitting those, like we saw the really basic fadeaway hit against the Bucks before the season returned. Kind of hit the little over-the-head fadeaway granny shot type thing. And that's he's going to be quicker. He's going to be longer. He's going to be easier to he's going to be harder to defend, When you're playing center and you're already 240 pounds and you're going against this 130-pound guy, you're going to be easier to body him up. But what are you going to do whenever he hits a step back on you, goes out to the perimeter? He's going to be quicker than you. He's going to beat you. Not many players are going to be able to guard that. Before we end, who benefits the most off of this NBA hiatus? I mentioned already the Trailblazers are going to be a team. They're coming back from injuries. So like I said, you got Nurkic back, you got Whiteside back, you got Dame back fully healthy. All these guys are back. all proven to be amazing players, all proven guys that are going to get that next big contract when their free agency comes up. And then another team I look at is the Mavericks. The Mavericks is a young team as is. You got Delon Wright, Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway is a guy that's never been on a playoff team until now. Luka, he's proven to be a top 5 player in the league, and he's only in his second season, averaging 30 points per game, like 7 assists and so on. It's such a great stat for a he's a 19-year-old player in the league. He's doing such amazing things. He's going to be one of those guys that's going to be the top players coming into the playoffs. You got a guy like Kristaps. Kristaps is a guy that frequently faces injuries. He's going to come in. He's going to hit the 3 ball. I'm sure you can work on the 3 ball at home. You can't work on your finishing. You can't work on your agility as much at home. But you can work on that 3-point shot while you're in quarantine, while you're in the hiatus. And these type of players are what's going to succeed the most. Kristaps faced many injuries. He was out the whole season with the Knicks before traded to the Mavericks due to ACL tear. He came back and he was averaging like 19 and 11 rebounds per game. He's going to be one of those guys that's going to really benefit the Mavericks in the long run. Luka, he's going to have fresh legs. He's been coming off injuries here and there as well. Fresh legs. Delon Wright, he's a proven great backup point guard. Jalen Brunson, proven to be a great role player point guard. All these guys are amazing players. They're young players. They're going to benefit the most. They're coming at the 7th seed. They're playing against the Clippers at the 2 seed. They've already proven to do some damage against the Clippers. Now it's the real test is to see who performs better. You know, you got Kawhi on load management. You got these young players against a pretty solid roster. And, you know, this roster of the Clippers doesn't have many chemistry, you know. They're going to be one of those teams that's going to kind of fail a lot off of this. You know, they don't have a lot of chemistry coming into the hiatus. You know, they've already had about 20 games played between Kawhi and PG, and out of 56, 57 games played total. That's not, whenever you have 2 superstars, you're paying them max contracts. You don't want them playing 20 games together and put them in the playoffs and like, all right, let's win it all this season. They're both proven to be great players, but every team needs some chemistry. That's what happened with the Raptors last season. The Raptors, yes, Kawhi was that dominant player, and you throw in the dominant player to the equation of a team that's already played all the games together, already proven to have a lot of chemistry. They win it all. They beat the Warriors in 5, they beat the Warriors in 6. Not many people expect that heading into the season, but the key part was chemistry. This is a league of duos. Duos are what surround this league. It was talked about before the season started. You have LeBron, AD, Kristaps, Luka, Kawhi, PG, Dame, and CJ. You have Steph and Clay. Obviously, both of those were injured, unfortunately. KD, Kyrie. It's a league of duos. That's a lot of chemistry between your duos. LeBron and AD. They've succeeded so much. If AD had injury frequencies like he did in the past, I guarantee that's like a 6-seed team. That's a team that's not going to do much damage in the playoffs. I'm a big Lakers fan. I'm going to admit that. It's a chemistry-filled league. It's a duo-filled league. And what you're going to need out of Dame and CJ, they've played together for the past like 6 years. They're going to be proven to be a great team. Kyle Lowry and Siakam, they've played together the past 2 years. Automatic chemistry there. But a Clippers roster, brand new, never played with each other before. You throw in Joakim Noah, one of the guys that was out of the league for 2 years. You throw in Reggie Jackson, was on a bottom feeder Pistons team, already a great team. He has a little bit of chemistry with PG due to friendship-wise. But you've got so many new players. Patrick Beverley, one of those guys. He's missing a little bit now because of family issues, but he's a guy that proven to be a little bit egotistical, goes on Twitter and does all this. But it's a league, you know, it's a lot of what are we going to see all these playoffs, you know? You're going to see so many teams fail. You're going to see so many teams succeed, which is the obvious. But it's like, ours is going to, because all these teams are pretty even. It's an even playing field now. You missed 4 months. You got so many young teams in the playoffs. You got great teams in the playoffs that won it before, that proven to be great before. You got teams like the Lakers and Clippers thought to be the biggest contenders. You got a team like the Bucks, thought to be the greatest team in the league right now, thought to be almost as good as the 2016 Warriors. It's a lot to expect. What are we going to expect from the future on? A lot to see. We got scrimmages this week, scrimmages next week. It's crazy, though. Like how I mentioned before, the season's back. But, you know, we're going to go ahead and end it here a little bit. We got a little bit of time to go to spare, but everything's going now. The scrimmages are coming around. Everything's starting to kind of fully take shape. We're watching. You can analyze these as much as you want. You could talk as much as you want. but it's a playing field now. It's all even battlefield. Everything's going to be left on the court. It's very suspenseful. Who's going to win it all? Who's going to fail? What's going to happen in the offseason? This has been the Shot Clock Podcast. My name's Nathan Shawl. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram at the Shot Clock Pod. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let's get back to NBA basketball. I'll see you next week, guys.